speaker is Mike Carr, founder of the Consistency Initiative. The title of his talk is going to be Motivation No Longer Works, Here's What Does. And he starts out sounding a little bit like a late night commercial. Do you find yourself frustrated you aren't progressing as fast as you'd like? Are you burned out? Uncertain how to navigate an uncertain future? Mike was there 25 years ago. At the time, he had one wife, 0 children, and 0 stories. Then he tried something different, and that made all the difference. Today, he still has one wife. I know what you were thinking. But now 8 children and more stories than he can count. Along the way, he has started a number of small businesses with mixed success, has held senior positions in government, global corporations, and nonprofit boards. He has told stories in order to make his point and make part of his living for 35 years, speaking to large organizations, Merrill Lynch, UBS, Hewlett-Packard, and innumerable smaller ones. He was able to advance to the World Championship of Public Speaking semifinals twice, which was kind of cool. Currently, he is a partner in a thriving small business and speaks frequently on the topic that made all the difference 25 years ago. Please give a very warm welcome to Mike Carr.
Stress is the enemy. How many times have you been sitting in a job interview? You've been sitting in a performance review? You've been sitting in a sales call, and stress does not allow you to perform at your best. My daughter has a superpower, and this is a superpower that allows her to perform at a very high level, even during the times in her life when she has been going through immense difficulty. It is a superpower that allows her, even in those times, to remain at a very high level of peace, low stress, and decreasing stress. Now, this is a superpower that she did not come with. She learned. And because she learned it, you and I can learn it to be able to live a very low stress, high performance life and career. The superpower is called determination. And it is very different than motivation in a number of ways. Determination is much more about habits than it is about hoopla. Motivation, more like hoopla. To go to conferences, to get all hyped up and get motivated. I had an employee one time sit down when I came in as a new manager in an office. He said, "I just need someone to motivate me." I said, "Oh, my friend, I am so sorry." Because the reality is that no one can motivate us beyond ourselves. And a lot of times we get all dependent on the drug of emotion. We go through hard times, we go through stressful times, and we can't tap that drug anymore. Determination is more about habits. It's about grit. It's about, use the microphone. Stress is the enemy. No, just kidding. We're not going all the way back there. We were somewhere talking about determination. The difference between determination and motivation. Determination is more about gutting it out, more about habits. I became fascinated by determination for a number of reasons, but a few years ago, the Gallup organization did a survey of entrepreneurs who had success, and they separated out those who start businesses and those whose businesses tend to thrive. And in their surveys, they found 12 different characteristics of entrepreneurs who tend to have thriving enterprises. And what would you guess is at the top of that list? Determination. Motivation was nowhere on that list. And so whether we're trying to get the next career, push our mission forward, start that business, it makes sense that we would focus on the thing that tends to move the needle for those who are putting the most risk out there starting a business. We're going to have time to focus on one component of motivation. I would say the cornerstone component. I'm sorry, not motivation, determination. we're gonna be able to focus on one component, probably the cornerstone component of determination today. And it starts with my daughter's story, Macy. Macy's story began about 31 years ago when I got down on one knee and I asked Julie Lyles to marry me, travel the world, focus on career, and have no children. You heard my bio earlier. Could I just have like 9 volunteers come stand with me just for a quick second? I promise you're not going to do anything but stand here. I'm not going to put a microphone in front of you. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think we need one more, right? 1, 2, 3. One more? This is what my family dinners look like. I just want you to get a visual here because now my kids are about these sizes. And this is also what our Christmas card looks like. So a lot of people say to me, the 8-kid thing, I mean, why? And really there's just one response to why the 8-kid thing. It's that spontaneity causes people. So, thank you guys for standing and joining me, being part of my family today. See, now I feel like I'm among family. Now I can calm down. Macy was number 4 of our children. And when she was born, she had 2 older sisters and an older brother. They were all healthy. Macy was seemingly healthy. We would play and we talked to Macy and we would be all animated in front of her. She would light up and look at us. And whenever we would try to talk with her when her back was turned, she would not respond. So we went to an audiologist, we went to pediatricians, and we found out that Macy had been born deaf. So we started wrestling with, what do we do? This was uncharted territory. High amounts of stress for us because it is the unknown. And stress comes in either when there is an unknown or there is a separation between our expectation and what reality is. And we were in uncharted waters. There's a wonderful deaf school here. We thought, well, we could put her here in this deaf school. We could start learning sign language. And as we looked and read, what we discovered was if you don't stimulate those hearing centers of the brain, they atrophy and die. But Macy would put her ear up against the speaker of a stereo and turn it all the way up early in the morning and would sit there and just get every bit of sound she could while she danced. She loved music, and it broke our hearts to think we're not going to help her with that. And so we ran across a controversial therapy called auditory verbal therapy, where we put hearing aids, bilateral hearing aids on her. We covered our mouths and we forced her to learn to listen. It was about this time when I was really struggling and my dad came to me. My dad is the most quiet person in the room. He was full of wisdom and he said to me, Mike, the things that you are worrying about, you are spending all of your time concerned with things that are outside of your control. So I thought, why did this happen? Why us? What happens later in life? How can she learn? My dad said, Mike, that's all outside of your realm of control. The only thing you can think about are items within your realm of control. And he gave me a book on Stoic philosophy. And I started reading the writings of Seneca, who was, by the way, the Warren Buffett of the Roman Empire, the Warren Buffett of his day. And Seneca said over and over and over again, everything in our lives fall into one of 2 realms. Those things we can control and those things we cannot control. And we will have more peace in our lives to the degree that we become very, very clear on where items land. And so we started focusing on what only we could control. There were all kinds of uncertainty over here, but we would say to each other, outside of our realm of control, what can we do? What can we control? And then as Macy started learning, we started teaching her the same thing because she was so frustrated that she couldn't hear, she couldn't understand what someone was saying. She'd stare at somebody's mouth trying to read lips. And she'd come in and cry, and she'd pull off her hearing aids, and she'd throw them down. She said, I said the F word at those hearing aids. And I said, what's the F word? She said, hate. F word, hate. I don't know where she got that. Hopefully maybe from one of her other siblings. You know, it's just, I'll just tell you, what I'm going to reveal today is I'm a bad parent. I'll just tell you right now, I'm a bad parent. But she got so frustrated, and we would tell her to the degree that she could understand, sweetie, I know. There's nothing you can do about that. What can you do instead? So as she grew up, she learned to read lips well. And it would be to the point where she would start arguing with her just older brother, Justice, who made her crazy. And they would be arguing, and Justice would start saying, Macy, you're trying to make me look bad, and you're doing this, and you're not listening to me, which is an ironic thing to say to your sister who is hearing impaired. But he would say, you're not listening to me, and she would look at him, and she would turn off those hearing aids and say, I can't hear you anymore, and he would lose his mind. So one of the things that she started to develop that was within her control was to begin to develop a sense of humor around the frustrations in her life. And an interesting thing happened was it made her so much more open to other people. There's something about self-deprecation. And it was amazing to see her learn that at such a young age. So today Macy is 20, and she's in nursing school. She advocates for herself, and even more importantly, she advocates strongly for her friends who have disabilities, who have special needs. She advocates actually strongly for her female friends. She is the one at the bar who goes and has the whole Ice Queen thing because it's really loud, she can't quite hear this. So whenever a drunk friend has a guy who's getting a little too close, Macy literally will go punch the guy because she has become so tough because she had to be. But she reads lips so well. Now all of her friends want to take her to all their social functions so that they can tell from across the room what all of their other friends are saying and getting all their secrets. We will go all out to eat, that big, huge group that you saw here, and she'll sit there and be looking across the room, and all of a sudden she'll say to her brother Justice, oh, that girl over there thinks you're cute. I mean, it is a great superpower. But her best superpower is rock solid determination. She knows well what she can control and what she cannot control. And now she teaches me on a daily basis that those things that we cannot control, we cannot afford to allow ourselves to have any emotion attached to those things and to take action on those things we can control. Now that's so easily said. It's so simple, but it is not easy. Macy, she cannot hear out of her realm of control, so she does not care. What is within the realm of her control? She could learn she could study sign language. She could work on hearing aids. She could get better hearing aids. And so she takes action on those pieces. So simple, not easy. Let's take it out of this, before we move into a business example, I'll give you a different example outside of family, okay? Let's think about the complexion of politics right now, the complexion of the Congress. I'm not going to say what side I'm on. All right? Let's just say at some point in history, I'm on one side and the majority of the Congress is on the other side. I can be so furious every day about what someone, any member of Congress, is tweeting, is saying, is going online to say, is saying in an interview. I can get so worked up about that. Is that within my realm of control? Why am I allowing that to suck so much energy away from me that I could use to start a business, love my family, make good friendships, or go sell something? But I have to fight it. So that's outside of my realm of control. So I should divorce myself from any feeling in that area. Now, what is it within the realm of my control? I could support a candidate. I could recruit a candidate to run for a certain office. I could give money to a candidate. I could walk neighborhoods. I could do petition drives. Those actions I could take. But do you see the difference? And what's happening in society right now? All of society, most of society, are losing their minds over things that we cannot control, and it does not serve us. Those things we cannot control, completely separate emotion from. Those things we can control, take action on. So let's think about some examples before we end from you. What is something that is causing you stress right now that you're willing to share? And we're just going to deconstruct it for a second.
Lack of job.
Lack of job. Yeah, it's a great example. Okay, so whenever I last had a lack of job, there's fear that was associated with that. I had things, I had obligations in my life that come up. Can I make someone hire me today? Can I put a gun to someone's head and say, you have to hire me? I could do it, but then I have other problems, right?
Then you don't have to worry about finding a job.
Yeah, exactly. So, again, it's simple to say, it's not easy, but it's like a yoga practice. It's like weightlifting. We forget that our brains are also a muscle. And our brains have to be worked. If we're going to change our thinking, which, by the way, is one of the things that Seneca says is the biggest piece within our realm of control, is the way we choose to think about something. I naturally might gravitate toward fear, but I can choose to exercise and think about that differently. Again, not easy, but little by little, like building a muscle. When my thoughts go that direction, I redirect them in a different direction. And over time, then that changes. So, but if I divorce myself from the idea of a job, even to the point that a lot of radical people who really practice this radically will say, it's okay. I only want what I have. I currently don't have a job. I don't want a job because I don't have one. And what I will do to exercise my duty to society, just out of practice, I'm going to apply to 5 to, that's within the realm of my control, right? What else is in the realm of my control? I'm going to apply to however many today, 5? It's also within the realm of my control to apply to 1 more tomorrow, so 6. It's also within the realm of my control to apply to 7 the next day, and 8 the next day. And so in this example, success is not tied to getting a job because that's not completely in the realm of my control, is it? Success is tied to the fact that I am doing the activity. And if someone else is stupid enough not to recognize that, not within the realm of my control. I'm doing the discipline. I'm doing the activity. That's what we get to define what success looks like for us. And I would tell you, whatever society tells all of us is a bunch of bull cuss word. It is so wrong what society, so many of the things society tells us. We get to decide solidly within the realm of our control. It's a great example. What else? What else? Yeah.
Spousal anxiety. So.
Yeah. I am married to I'm a strong personality. I am married to a strong personality. I would not recommend doing that. But there is a lot of anxiety. She has more anxiety with me, I'm sure, than I do in the reverse. And can I change my wife? Is that within the realm of my control? Right. Can she change me? What is in the realm of my control? There. I can change me. I can go to therapy. I can seek therapy to see what blind spots I might see, what part I may be playing. What else? I can love her well, even if I don't like her on a given day, like I would treat another human. I can love her because she is a human. I can love her because she is the mother of any of my children. I can love her because she is a human worthy of being loved. I can be polite. And if we just don't get along, I can take up a lot of hobbies. And so, or she can take up a lot of hobbies. There are lots of things within the realm of our control. So am I answering? No. Call BS on me if I'm not, if you say I'm not, because this is the conversation. So does that give you an idea? Yeah. I say, I'm not saying that's, I know you're asking for a friend, but yeah, just like, but these are, that's a very real thing. So that is the most important cornerstone. I would tell you, let's bring it into the job hunt piece. I've interviewed a lot of folks. One of the things that I really try to differentiate is when someone sits down in front of me or did, and they said, I can do this. I ended up hiring a lot of people that said, I can do this, and I will do this, and then they didn't, or they couldn't. And so, really trying to figure out, is someone telling me the truth? Are they really self-aware about what their skill set is? And unfortunately, whenever stress builds, then we can come across as nervous. But to be very chill, very laid back, hey, it's all right, Mike. I don't need this job. I don't even want this job because I don't have it yet. But I've got a great skill set, and I'm willing to give gifts to the world. I'm ready to give excellence to the world. That comes across in an interview situation. The other thing that getting very clear about what we can control, what we cannot control really helps us with is we are no longer in a manufacturing economy. But goals and goal setting, the way we approach achievement is it was built for manufacturing. This idea that we really get down and we have this big, hairy, audacious goal and we go for it, and it was designed to help someone putting widgets together, just to put more widgets together faster on an assembly line. But what that does is whenever we allow stress, when we don't really delineate constantly between what we can control, what we cannot control, we start feeling ourselves slipping behind, and so stress builds, right? There's the difference between the expectation and what reality is. And when fear starts building, that's the amygdala. That's our lizard brain. That's the oldest part of our brain. That's the brain that thousands of years ago helped our ancestors survive because they think that twig is rustling, could there be a lion back behind that? And fear. But today, whenever fear starts rising, it starts sucking blood and energy away from the newest parts of our brain, the creative centers of our brain. And in a knowledge-based economy, if we really want to show an employer that we can be innovative, we cannot. We have to find a way to quiet that amygdala, quiet that lizard brain. And being very clear about what I can control, what I cannot control, separating our emotions away from those things I cannot control, and just taking action about those things that I can control, then it quiets that amygdala and it fires up our creativity. And so it's in times of peace that when do you have your best ideas? Where are you when you have some of your best ideas? In the shower. That's right. And why is that? Because I can't write it down. I can't jump on my computer. I can't, it is when our brains are quieted that the creative centers of our brain are allowed to run and play. Look, we don't have to put massive pressure underneath ourselves to come up with creative solutions. We were, as humans, designed to be creative, to grow, to find solutions, to improve something. Have you ever seen a healthy child who at some point has not decided to walk? No, not if they're healthy, because we as humans, that is what is within us. We don't have to put pressure under ourselves to go and improve and grow. If we just quiet our brains, we will find ways. We will find solutions to our problems. We will find ways to get that job, start that company, move that career. And a key component, just to quieting that, comes in a very simple exercise. Again, not easy, but continuing the practice of, is this within my realm of control, this thing that I'm worrying about? Or is it outside of my realm of control? I hate to close on a downer, but I want to tell you this is heavy for me, and I've been challenged, especially by A-types, before saying, well, then you don't care about results. And I want to tell you, one of my other daughters had a stroke at birth. She may have a stroke again. That is in the realm that I cannot control. But every minute I spend worrying about that is a minute that I take away from time that I could share and build joy with her in her life today. And so it's very, very serious for me that if tomorrow morning I wake up and I don't have my daughter, that I have spent every minute I could building joy with her. And so it has been an amazing experience for her and for me. Now just extrapolate that into everything that we care about in our lives. And there have been times when I've had job disruption or economic disruption, and it got real then because I'd go, well, this isn't my baby girl having a stroke. And so I can figure this out. I can separate this out. So they may fire me, so I may get a bad performance review. So I, not within the realm of my control. And so I'm going to distance my emotion from that. I'm going to do everything I can to provide excellence. But if that comes along, then so be it. It's not, it feels flippant, but it puts us in the right headspace to really do something excellent in this world, in our careers, in our jobs, for any company. And any company would walk over 100 people to find you if you were that person. I can tell you. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to close with one last story, and then I will. But I'll ask for questions before I close. I hope that wasn't too heavy, but I want you to know I don't. I don't say this flippantly. Any questions? Yeah.
Just a question, I just wanted to agree with you on that. My husband died in November, and 2 weeks after he was diagnosed with a terminal illness, because that wasn't something we could control. And like you, we chose just to enjoy everything we had. And I focused on my work, and I got a really good promotion within weeks of his diagnosis, because I can't control the essence of what I just can enjoy what I have, and naturally bring
That's a great example. Yeah. We spend so much time living in a time that does not exist. We spend time living in the future, or we spend time living in the past. But those times don't exist. The only time that exists is today, this very minute. And that's I have to practice that every day because I have a hard time. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Any else? Yes, ma'am.
So what about something huge like climate change? Which, of course, you can't control climate, but there are actions that you can take that make a difference, perhaps. So, how do you put it like a little piece, give us a big thing.
Yeah, climate change is a great example. Thank you. So, if the climate, if temperatures are rising and we're past the tipping point, can I control that? If the globe is not going to vote to reverse things that could change that, can I control how those people vote? No. So, let's be extreme. If the ozone burns away or a meteor hits and our time on this earth is limited, can I control that? But what can I control? I can give speeches. I can try to rally politicians. I can build discussion groups. Here's an interesting one. I can go to climate change deniers and ask them their perspective and start a discussion. I will tell you this, I do happen to think that we really need to look at climate change. But I have some very good friends who say the science is questionable. Well, they say the science. I'm going down a bunny trail. What I can do is I can start a discussion and hear their perspective, rather than immediately throwing water in their face and saying 97% of the credible scientists out there don't deny it. Well, they don't see it that way. So that's something, but can I control he's a family member, an in-law, in another state. Can I control the way he feels? No. But I can control the way I approach him, and if I want him to listen to me, then I need to be willing to listen to him too. So whichever side of whichever side of any political issue we're on, I think that's a whole other speech. But it is in the realm of our control to listen to someone whose opinion is different than ours. So does that answer?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That was great advice.
Okay. Well, thanks. I will. Yeah. Yes.
Are there any techniques that determination obviously is a thing, but there's also your body. Your body does what it does. Are there any techniques that you use or great to help reduce stress?
Yes. Typically my body follows my mindset. And so that's where I start first, mindset. To reduce stress, just physically, daily exercise is great, eating right is great. But a lot of these things we hear a lot. Eat right, exercise, meditate, all those are really good. And whenever I would hear those and I would practice those, it just didn't seem to mess with my stress levels as much as I needed them to. And that's when my dad came along and he said, you've got to change them. You've got to change your mindset. There's a concept in golf that if you want to hit the ball really, really, really far, don't try to hit the ball really, really, really far. Because what you do is you just do and miss the ball. And I can tell you because I've done that in gazillion times. But what a golf instructor will say is you work on executing the perfect golf swing and the ball just happens to get in the way. That's more in line with, because we've talked about stress reduction for decades and the stats show it hasn't moved the needle at all. The only way to truly perform high with low stress is to have a what may be a radical change in our thinking. And so it's not, again, easy, but it's a practice. So did that help physically? Yeah. Taking deep breaths, focusing on small steps, lowering our want. But these are all kind of components in kind of the broader. If you want to follow more of that, I blog about that at lowstresshighperformance.com, and you're welcome to follow along if you want to, or if you follow me on any social media. I'm on all the socials. My kids just told me I need to get on TikTok, so. Yeah, really, great. But we're right about that. So just to close, whenever my son, that Justice, that son who drove Macy crazy, whenever he was a little boy and he wanted something like a new computer, or he wanted some kind of a new gaming system, we'd say, well, okay, go raise the money. This is a good way to. I always kind of figured if somebody was not afraid to sell something in a free market economy, then they could always probably feed themselves and their family the rest of their lives. And so we go over to Sam's Club or Costco and we'd get wholesale candy, and he'd take him candy selling door to door. So he's a little guy at this point. You're probably going to tell me, oh, you're a bad parent for doing that, and I already told you I'm a bad parent, so you shouldn't be surprised. But we fill this little tray full of candy, and we go through the little sales pitch, and he had a list. And so he said, okay, he said, give us your pitch. He said, my name is Justice Carr. I'm saving money for a computer. I'm selling candy. Do you want one or two? Okay, who can turn this down, right? So I'm in the neighborhood, and I happen to know a guy who's a professional salesman, lives kind of right around the corner, and this will be the perfect guy to let Justice cut his teeth, give his pitch. The guy will go, oh, budding salesman, he'll buy Justice completely out, and it'll be a great first experience, and Justice will launch out in his first business. And so we drive up, and I kind of drive a little past the front door where I can see it back there, and I let Justice out, and he goes walking up to the front door, he holds his tray, and he, on the door, holds his tray. I see the guy open the door, and I see Justice kind of doing his little dance that he did as he would give his, one or two. And then I see the guy close the door, and Justice comes walking back to the car. And I said, how did it go? How many did you sell? And he said, none. And I'm thinking, dude, what are you doing to me? I'm trying to raise the next generation of entrepreneurs, free market advocates, whatever, people getting out there doing something. What are you thinking? And Justice looked at me and said, I guess he had no teeth. And it's the perfect story to end because we get to decide the way we choose to look at something. That, Seneca says, is the thing that is the most within our control. Now, he's in good company because Warren Buffett also says that. And so does Charles Swindoll. And so does a whole litany of people who have sown really great things into the world, that the ultimate control is the way we choose to look at something. So a period of unemployment can be one thing, or it can be the time that builds the foundation to launch us. And if we look through history, we can find innumerable examples of those that have gone from a time of difficulty to the best days of their lives. So I would I would suggest that to you. It is not within the realm of my control to ask you to look at anything a certain way. I can only ask, but I would suggest, based on Macy's experience, my own experience in business and life, then I do believe that would serve you well.